Not a fan of your negativity.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to get more salutes if we don't like the other salutes?
Yeah, for sure.
I already have my salute. I have my salute on lockdown.
Whoa.
Wow.
Careful. Wow.
He put a ring on it.
Well, welcome back to the 10 Tenths podcast. On that note, I'm Michael Beck. We've got Adam Nielsen and Robbie Verhoot.
Oh my God, you still can't get
Veerhout.
it. Veerhout.
Like
Damn it.
you're going out.
Oh, Veerhout. There we go. I'll probably get it this time around.
Wow.
So now, after we did our experimental podcast, which was technically yesterday, even though we're not going to release this that quickly, but whatever. I'm all for transparency.
Why don't we do daily podcasts?
Let's
I
just
think
do it.
I don't have that much going on in my life. I could
just-
do that.
We already quit our jobs anyway, so this is what we're planning on doing full time. So,
Professional.
yeah, absolutely. So we were pretty pumped after we did the last one. So now we have all these social media sites, whereas last time they were all fake, and we just assumed that we were going to put them together. After we listened to the last podcast, it wasn't completely shit. So
A lot of things have happened in the last 12 hours.
yeah, so we're pretty pumped about that. So I'm trying to remember all of our social media sites and all that. So we've got Facebook. You can find us on there. It's 10 Tenths Podcast. We have a Twitter, which is at 10 Tenths Pod, because you can't put that many letters together for your Twitter handle. So
Ridiculous.
That doesn't make any sense.
it was one letter short, and I was so pissed.
Podcast. That's definitely
No,
not.
not-
So
that doesn't work.
No, at 10 Tenths Pod, and then Robbie set up an Instagram for us. What's that?
10 Tenths Podcast.
So we've got those social media sites. So hit us up on there. If you have questions or suggestions for the show, definitely put them on there, or send us a message.
We'll be checking the DMs or comments. We're pretty small time, so if you comment, we're going to see it.
Yeah, and we will actually respond to it.
Probably.
Probably.
Unless
Unless
you're
you're a
mean.
dick.
Yeah, if you're
Then
really
we're
mean,
not
if you're
gonna-
really mean, I
Yeah, it is.
probably won't respond.
You know, Twitter, you can send dick pics and stuff, but please don't send us any
That's
dick
what
pics.
Snapchat is for.
We don't have that yet.
We don't have Snapchat yet. So anyway, we did our podcast yesterday knowing that we were going to be going to the Wild Wades swap meet. We're here in Des Moines, Iowa, so that's a swap meet that, I don't know, I've gone to for years and years and years because I'm from Des Moines.
It's my second time going, but it's one of the better indoor swap meets I've been to, and I've been to a lot of them across the Midwest.
And Robbie and I, or not Robbie and I, but Adam and I grew up as hot rodders, even though he doesn't really want to admit that.
I'm just not into the muscle car thing. It's not.
But it doesn't matter. You grew up in a hot rod house.
Hot
so-
rod.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't hate muscle cars or hot rods or any of that stuff. I'm just not
It's not your thing.
It's just not. your thing.
not going to buy one anytime soon.
That's fine. But you still go to swap meets, which is primarily a hot rodder scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it's muscle cars and old school hot rodders. But
Yeah.
you still like going to them.
Carburetors and all that good stuff.
All those terrible things. Although, I saw some fuel injection there, which I was super pumped
I know it's starting to get a mixture of like, because fuel injection is getting to the point where random people can afford it and figure it out.
Yeah, and it's getting cheap, especially with the, the Holly boxes. I don't know if that's the
LS
Dominator.
the world.
Yeah, and you can just hook that thing up and it just works. So anyway, Robbie is he's a racer, so he's not used to that. He's not used to that scene.
Bam.
He's not used to that scene, so we thought it might be funny if we took him out there and showed him around, and he could check out all the mullets and snap-on
Leather
jackets
jackets.
and shit like that.
Snap-on
Now
jackets,
now
yeah.
that you mention it, there was I wouldn't say leather jackets. There was a lot of those like snap-on jackets or
Harley t-shirts.
definitely Harley t-shirts, but yeah, the toolmaker jackets and the racing jackets, NASCAR style.
Saw a guy wearing a sweatshirt that said, "I swear this is my last beer, honey."
That is spot on. That crowd.
Yeah,
He wasn't a small man either.
I'm sure he wasn't. So anyway, we took Robbie out there for him to experience that, so we're hoping he can give us a little feedback on that world, because that's not something he ever partakes in.
Well, not a lot.
He's used to,
I had been to a really small time one back. I think it was in like Sioux Center, Iowa. There was maybe 10 vendors, and they're all local, so you could have just walked into any of their shops. And some random guy had, I think I got like the valve stem covers that looked like bullets, so it matched my 6-shooter
yeah,
center caps.
he had some ricer parts. Is that what you're talking about?
That's a hot rodder part.
It's kind of
That's a hot rodder thing.
It's a confusing part on his car.
Yeah, the bullet wheels that you have,
The six shooters.
6-shooter
The center
wheels.
cap.
Yeah, you can find that on his on his Instagram.
Is it on my Instagram?
It's probably
Maybe
on.
I'll
It's
post
going to
it.
be now.
I'll post
Yeah.
it on the page.
We'll post a picture of Robbie's wheels. I haven't quite had time to give him shit for that yet.
Well,
The first time I noticed it, I didn't really
I'll bet
know
they
him.
weigh more individually than my wheel package weighs
Total.
total.
The wheels, or what are we talking about here? The center caps?
No, your wheels.
Oh god, yeah, they're heavy as shit.
Where did those wheels even come from?
TireRack.com, like 10 years ago.
So I'm gonna.
Do you
I'm
have
gonna,
a brand?
ICWs.
I'm gonna ask a question. So, what point in your life did you think that was a good idea?
Well, I wasn't racing. This is during the show car phase.
Yeah, show car.
All I
We've
cared
gone
about was
through
looks.
this. I know it wasn't on the podcast, but we've gone through this. You know that Robbie and I were into the show scene.
Oh my God! It may
It
actually.
was all show,
All right.
no go back
We'll come.
in 2005.
We're gonna come back to the swap meet thing because we're gonna go down a road. I'm gonna take this down a road that is just offensive to me. So we're gonna go there, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. And Adam's making noises because he knows where I'm going.
I know what he's going to say.
I'm gonna tell the world right now. Adam used to own. Give me a year. What? Just give me the
It
year.
was a 99.
He used to own a 99 Chevrolet Cavalier, which had an eBay Lambo door kit on it.
But it was not a universal kit. It was actually a pretty decent kit. Like, I shouldn't have to defend this because they were awesome. I don't
Bullshit.
care. But the kit I bought, you could open the doors like normal doors if you wanted to. Clearly no one ever did.
Right.
Because Lambo door. So, side note on Chevy build quality. It's probably a problem they never saw coming. They didn't paint the bottom of the door.
Oh, that's bizarre.
That's
Yeah, it was still a
half-assed.
primer. It was never painted.
That's weird.
But you can't see it.
So you're saying when the door's fully upright.
So when the door was up, the part that is the bottom of the door,
right, the part that would be normally facing the ground. Not,
was just primer and some overspray. It was never fully painted.
I wonder if that was a mistake.
Both doors.
No, that's 90s GM build
No
quality.
way.
Both
Yeah.
doors.
Yeah, I can
That
promise
is
you
shoddy
that's
quality right there.
Hey, you know what? Okay, so here's
I did
here's
spray paint them.
Well, yeah,
So,
you gotta have something on there.
here's some random shit that
History.
you wouldn't know about because you come from the tuner world. Is that fair? Can I say that?
I would say that, but the way you said it made it sound like it's like a dig.
I
Like,
was
Yeah,
trying- no,
you're
from the-
being
from the-
derogatory.
from the tuner
Your
world, as I-
microaggression is upsetting
on
me.
microaggression. So anyway, so my point was these guys that get really into restoring these really rare muscle cars, they take it to the point where they replicate the overspray on the engine
Yeah,
bay. Yeah,
So
they do.
so when a car is assembled, the guy on the line, like, he'll tighten something down and then he marks it with a grease pen so that the next guy knows that's been torqued.
Yep.
That grease pen mark has to be there, or that shit doesn't count.
So like a old show.
Yeah, like
So you got
Chevelle.
a 69 Copo Camaro.
Yeah.
Which is a super rare car. That guy is going to pay some serious cash money to have those imperfections on his restoration.
So if I rebuilt one of those and then had like glass finish paint, no
Nobody wants
orange peel,
that.
nothing.
No, nobody wants
Wow.
that.
Different worlds, man.
It is a different world.
I don't get it.
And it's a world
that's
I
a part of muscle car stuff that I, from day one, have never understood.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. So anyway, we've gone down two side roads, but let's
Yeah,
bring it
we're
back
on rabbit trails
let's come
already.
back one. And let's talk about Adam's Lambo doored Cavalier. And,
I
and,
thought
and
we
all
had
the
not-
listeners want more details because guess what? That's not all he did to it.
Yeah, we have not
had
talked
a-
about the body kit.
It had a body kit, but this was 2003. Like, that was the thing to do, and I'll defend it till the day I die. It wasn't the worst
I want to
looking thing
hear
in the world.
beginning to end what you did to it.
I was the first person in my hometown to have, that I can remember anyway, to have a body kit that was properly put on the car and painted the factory color of the car.
Oh, I can't say that.
I think I was the first person in my hometown to do that. There were other kids with body kits,
Yep.
but they never got them painted. They'd get them primered, and that was it.
See, I saw
Or
kids
they'd
that would
rattle can them.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't rattle canned. My dad has a friend who is a body man, and he did it for me for the cheap.
What else did you do to it? Because that's not all.
Pre-body kit, as a joke, a friend of mine bought spinner hubcaps, and I rocked those for a while.
Let's just be clear. These are $15, I'm assuming.
Walmart special.
Walmart special spinner hubcaps.
We went into that Walmart to get Band-Aids or something like that. I think one of us was bleeding from a skating trip.
Seems accurate.
It was probably true.
And you put those on your Cavalier.
He bought them not because I said there's no way I would put those on my car even if you paid for them. And so then he paid for them, and, so I just put them on there. But then I lost one at one point. Actually, for a Halloween dance, I put one on a string and used it as a necklace. I was a hip-hop guy. I had, like, some XXL baggy sweatpants and stuff like that.
You were that guy.
It was a good time.
Okay, so that's not all you did to the Cavalier.
I did a lot of stereo stuff. That car is probably not safe to drive in anymore. I cut a lot of the rear package tray out of it.
Hopefully the guy that bought it's
For
not
a
listening
wall?
to this.
I'm 95% certain that car doesn't exist anymore.
That's probably for the best.
I miss that car. I built I don't know why do we have to focus on what I did?
Oh, we'll get to us soon enough.
It'll come
I
around.
don't want to focus on me.
We'll start with you. Then people will forget about you and they start talking about everybody else.
No, we're focusing on my poor decisions. Just because
You just made so many in a row, though. I think that's the thing that's impressive.
Not really. This was 2003, 2004. This was standard operating procedure.
Robbie, did you have Lambo doors on your 240?
If you would've wanted
He's got a body kit.
One I didn't, but I'm not going to say I didn't think about it. Because I knew if I did, I had to like alter my fenders in a way I wasn't willing to do.
My car was really, they were just bolt on and go because, that was a pretty straightforward deal. Some cars required a lot more modification.
Which tells me that there are way too many people putting Lambo doors on Cavaliers.
Hey, you want to know? So people believed back in the day that those were like $1,200 hinges. I sold them to a kid in Sioux Center for what I had in them after I had them for 2 years.
Wow.
Put them on a Sunfire.
Damn it.
Yeah.
That's
so
way
much,
worse.
That's so much worse.
Wow. Anyway, I don't know where we go from here. Maybe we should just
Well, he
stop.
didn't even talk about the body kit hardly.
What's to talk about
Well,
the
like,
body
the
kit?
brand, like what it looked like. Tell
It
us.
was a drift kit, but it was a cheap eBay one that was cost me like $400.
Let's get some things straight here. Drift kit on a Cavalier.
That's just the style they called. Like, so there's in that day there were a couple of body kits that they made for basically every car on the planet, and they all look roughly the same. And that was the kit I bought for my car.
And
It was a drift kit style. If you Google drift body kit or drift kit,
Cavalier.
that one will come up. There's one for his 240. There's one for your RX. Don't judge me.
He's not wrong.
Except neither one of us bought it.
I'm not going to
It's
say
got a
mine.
giant. He's got a body kit on his car. Don't even do that.
Mine looks so much better with the body kit.
Yeah, his
My
car
car
does
didn't
look
look
good with
bad.
the body kit.
I didn't say it looked bad. Well, the best part is you have a drift kit, but it doesn't have a wing.
It
How
never
you
had.
supposed
I
to-
never
how's
put a
it get
wing on
downforce
it.
to your rear wheels
I
if
never
you
put
don't
a
have a
wing
wing?
on it. I didn't put a wing on it. I never got into that.
I'm not going to talk about my wing.
I don't know.
It's got a giant like spot for a front mount in it,
yeah,
but I didn't.
you never had a front mount.
No, I just put chicken wire in it.
Yep, sounds about right.
I want to hear the story about.
I had an SS sticker.
Yes.
You did not.
Yeah, so
did.
I was
You did.
working at a dealership at the time, and GM had this like dealer installed package thing that came with SS decals, and it was for Silverados.
Yep. Yeah, I'm aware.
And so I took the sticker because somebody had bought the package but didn't want the sticker. So I took the sticker and put it on the back of my car right next to the Cavalier, so it said Cavalier SS.
That hurts me on the inside.
That happened.
Especially coming from that hot rodder world. Putting SS stickers on stuff that isn't an SS is sacrilege.
Oh well, it happened. I can't take it back.
Well, and then you
People ask me like, "Oh, is that really? Is that a Cavalier SS? Did they make those?"
No.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, I did play along with some of those people. I did tell them, yeah, it's a rare,
prototype.
low number thing, and they bought it.
I'm sure that they did. I'm sure that they did.
There's some stupid people out there.
There are. You can't do
So,
much of that anymore, though. Quick Google search will.
Yeah, it's a little
Get
harder
rid
to
of
do
that.
now. This was back when people had Nokia bricks,
Yeah.
so
Fair
there's
enough.
none of that happening.
Well, and I'm sure your Lambo doors didn't help any and confused many people.
Yeah, the Lambo. So one thing that was nice about the Lambo doors, they were really hard to close. And so whenever I had girls riding with me, I would close the door for them. They think I was being just such a gentlemanly guy, but I didn't want them to fuck up my car. So they're, oh, you're such a nice guy. He closed the door for me, he opened it for me, he closed it for me. Chivalry's not dead. No, bitch, I just don't want you to hurt my
Bullshit.
car.
Complete bullshit.
Oh wow!
All right. It might be time for the tables to turn. Robbie, what's the stupidest thing you ever did to one of your cars?
Thank you.
I don't know. You guys keep telling me how stupid everything is, but I don't think they're dumb.
Yeah, see, this is dumb as a matter of opinion, and I liked my Lambo.
We will leave it to the internet to decide if Lambo doors on a Cavalier is a bad idea.
I think it's funny. And
The internet will decide that everything is stupid.
Probably true.
Yep, it doesn't matter.
Okay, well, fine then. So Adam, what's the worst thing that you did to one of your cars? What's the thing that you regret most that you've done to one of your cars?
I don't know that there's anything I is purchasing. Does purchasing count?
Purchasing
Because
will
I
count.
regret purchasing both of my Audis.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
had
Fair.
2 Audi TTs. I had a 2000 that was the front wheel drive one, and then I bought a 2001 that was the all wheel drive with the larger turbo, and I regretted both of those. That was probably what I would regret most in my automotive decision making.
I never saw the first one. How long did you own the first one?
I had it for 6 months.
6 months. And why did
Yeah.
you get rid of it after 6 months?
So the second one that I bought was sitting at a dealership one day, and I saw it, stopped there after work just to kind of look at it. Sales guy came out, started talking to me about it, got me into the showroom, sat me down. I was, kind of not really all that interested in his car. I didn't want it that badly, but then I said, fine, whatever. Here's my terms. I don't remember. I had a couple, he wanted a cosigner. There was no way my dad was going to cosign on it. I said, you find me someone who will finance me, and you'll take my car, trade in for, I don't remember what the dollar amount was, but I told him I want this much on my car. You find someone who will finance me without a cosigner, I'll drive your car home. Oh, that's not going to happen. Just call your dad. Get him to cosign. No, he won't. You don't understand. You've never met my father. It's not going to happen. And then 2 days later, they called me and told me to come pick up my car.
So you owned the second one, the all-wheel drive one, for
6 years.
6 years.
Worst 6 years of my life.
Absolutely.
I'd be willing to bet you that in that 6 year time frame, it spent more than a year combined sitting because something was catastrophically wrong with it and I couldn't drive it.
Here's the thing about bag products in general, Volkswagen Audi products.
Especially early 2000s.
Especially early 2000s, is that, and I don't know, you probably don't feel this way anymore, but I never owned one long enough or had anything catastrophically go wrong with it that completely turned me off of them. But it's like Stockholm Syndrome when you own them. You love them to death, but they fucking suck. And they're awful, and they're fucking constantly broken. There were a lot of people that couldn't believe I sold that car because they figured you'd have to pry it out of my cold, dead fingers. Because I did love that car to death. And when it ran, I loved that car. But it was so bad to me so many times that I don't miss it. Right. Yes. Well, so like I said, I didn't own a turbo Audi or the GTI I had. I had a VR6 GTI, 4th gen, and I had a 1998 A6. And I still miss both of those cars. When you were talking about working on that Audi the other day, just prior to that conversation, I was thinking about, maybe I should get a B7.
It took me 3 hours to change the oil on I think it was a B7. Maybe it was I don't know. I don't know my body codes for those A4s. I never liked them. It took me 3 hours to change the oil in a parking garage, and I didn't know I was going to do it. Because if I'd have known that's what we were doing, I would have told him no.
Yeah. So, anyway, I don't know what it is. I still want one. When I see them, when I see a B5 S4, I lose my shit. That thing is so sweet.
Yes, those are the best. One of my favorite cars.
But I know deep down in my heart that if it came to it's time to sign the paperwork to buy it, I wouldn't be able to do it.
If you can't afford a new one, you can't afford a used one.
Absolutely not, especially not with an S4.
Oh, yeah.
That goes
especially if you have the 27T.
That goes for the 27T, which is the B5. We're getting really geeky into Audi shit here.
I'm okay with it.
You've totally lost
Robbie's
Robbie's along for the ride right now, so that's fine.
Wake me up when you're done talking about this.
So
I'll be here.
He can't go anywhere.
I'll just be here.
We're gonna finish
surfing
this
the internet for 240s.
He's going to be on Instagram. So anyway, the B5 with the 27T, that motor is garbage.
But it's awesome at the same time.
It is awesome because that thing makes 450 horsepower easily.
Easily. On stock internals.
But here's the deal. A buddy of mine has the A6, which I was serious about looking for at one point. The A6 with the 6-speed.
It's too big. I don't like that big of a car.
Yeah, see, but I missed my C5 A6.
Wow.
Some more chassis codes for you.
Wow.
So I missed that car so much that I was like, well, maybe I should just get the twin turbo one with the 6-speed, and I can have, I can have everything.
You can have a slightly larger S4.
Right. Because that B5 is not big. That is a small car.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty
Unlike
small
the
car.
current A4, which is, I think, the size of a battle cruiser. I haven't seen them next to each other, but I'm fairly certain it's the same size.
Yeah, probably.
So anyway, he has. It's pretty amazing. He's got like 200,000 miles on his, maybe even more than that.
It's a fluke. He got lucky.
But he was having an issue with oil consumption, which I think he eventually figured out. But he was thinking that maybe he had an issue with the block.
Is it because it's turbocharged? Because that's kind of a thing.
Well, yeah. But I think I don't know what it was. He fixed it. But anyway, he was going down the route of, I'm going to have to rebuild this car. The issue with those blocks is you can't bore them.
Okay, I guess I don't know him that well. I never looked into him that closely.
So my point is, if you decide, okay, I'm going to build an S4, I'm going to build a V5 S4 with that 2.7 turbo, you can't bore the block.
So what happens when you got 200,000 miles on it and you've got no compression left because it's wore out?
You better hope you can find one in a junkyard that's okay, that's passable. And you don't know. That was the issue.
You can't, like, bore them out and sleeve them?
No.
That's weird. That's a problem.
That is a problem. You can't, apparently the tolerances are that close that you can't bore it.
So what you're telling me is I need to go out, find a low mileage S4 and just park it.
Sit on it.
Because someday that motor means that there won't be any left.
Right.
And it's an investment.
Right.
Pro tip, guys.
Look at the advice. We are providing sound financial advice.
We just told you this car is terribly unreliable. But you need to go and buy one and then just park it somewhere.
Here's what you should do is buy the most expensive one you can find, because that's the one that's been babied, and sit on it for 30 years.
For sure.
Because you want to, like, the Quattro's not that old. Think about how valuable that car is.
I love me one of those. There was one that someone had abandoned in a campus parking lot in Ames, and I really, really wanted to find out whose it was.
Was that was the 5-cylinder non-turbo, I think, right?
Yes, it was.
How hard is it to put a turbo on one of those?
Yeah, there's a million different ways I could have fixed that problem.
Yeah. So, anyway, you can't own one of those, and you can't own a B6, B7, which is the 4.2 liter.
No, because the whole timing chain thing is
right. So
a bad deal.
Audi figured out at one point that they were having issues. They must have been timing belts. I think they were timing belts.
My 1.8T was a timing belt.
They were having issues with those breaking because people wouldn't service them.
Yep, it's a wear item. Timing belt's a wear item. You got to replace those every 50 to 60,000 miles.
And I'm sure everybody knows this, but let's just get it out there anyway. If that breaks, you're fucked. That
Interference motors are not real
not
friendly
ideal,
when it comes to that.
Right, you'll just spin a valve into a cylinder or into a piston, and you're done.
You bend rods, you break valves, you ruin motors.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine whose wife's Beetle did that way early. He's a mechanic, well aware of the issue, maintained the car, tensioner failed.
Yeah.
And it was replaced when the timing belt was replaced, but that doesn't matter.
So Audi saw that problem. They decided to put timing chains on the 4.2 liter, which is a glorious motor. Let's say that. Let's get that out there
I'll agree.
Right now. It is a fantastic motor. They put the chain on the back side of the motor.
Yep.
Which you can't get to because
nope, it's up against the firewall.
That version of the A4 is not that big, and that means you got to take the motor out to change.
It doesn't matter what car it's in. The 4, the 6, the A8. I mean, they're all right up against the firewall. That motor's coming out.
Right. So you don't have to change the chain, but they put plastic tensioners in there.
Followers. And then they'd wear out, and then they'd start slapping, and then the chain would break.
So you can't own one of those.
Not unless that's been fixed, which I believe is around 70 to 80,000 miles as well.
Which you're going to have to do again.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a permanent fix to it.
I don't know. Maybe somebody makes a Delran product or something that's better, but
might last longer, but it's not a permanent fix.
Right. So anyway, you can't own one of those either, which just ruins all of my Audi dreams. And then he works on a 2-liter turbo. That's one of the newer ones that I was thinking, yeah, I'll just get an APR tune on that. That'll be fast enough, right? You can't have one of those either.
No. There's something with the cam followers that fail on those, too. I don't know exactly what it is because I don't research them enough because I don't want one anymore. But there's something wrong with that motor, too. I don't remember exactly.
So if you want a fast, all-wheel drive car,
buy an Evo. Because those motors grenade all the time too.
Yeah,
so
but
what's
you
the
can't.
matter?
But an Audi to an Evo is like
buy M235i.
235i.
The new BMW.
Well, I think you can buy a new Audi as long as it's got a warranty.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Buy something with a warranty. Problem solved.
Right. But as far as used cars go,
well, I can't be caught dead in a Subaru because I've made fun of them too much already.
That's the other option is you buy a Subaru Legacy GT, which I'm going to say is the best car that Subaru's ever built.
He's got a hard-on for these Legacy GTs. I don't get it.
Not into it.
It's have you even been in one?
No.
Yeah, see, there's your problem.
I don't know that being inside of it is going to change my opinion.
Yeah, the interior of it is very livable. Let's put it that way.
I drive a 2001 S10. Clearly, interiors are not a concern.
Yeah, you don't give a shit.
Early 2000 GM interiors, not a pinnacle of their design.
If I'm going to build a car, I want a decent place to sit, though. If I'm going to build that level of car, I want to sit in a place that's
then
nice.
Buy a CTSV.
Fine.
He's got nothing. Shoot.
But they don't come in all-wheel drive. See? We live in Iowa still.
Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, you can put snow tires on it. I've thought about that.
Yeah,
but
my truck's fine in the snow.
It's still an LS6.
Snow tires on my S10, better than all seasons on my Audi in the snow.
Well, I think universally people say don't put all seasons on those Audis in the wintertime.
I ran all seasons all season.
Since they like to push.
They were expensive tires because it was a weird size, and I don't have the kind of I spent all my money just keeping it going down the road. I couldn't buy good tires.
Yeah, which is quintessential Audi ownership.
I think if I bought one today, if you're gonna buy one and you have $10,000, you have to buy an $8,000 one because you need that $2,000 to fix a bunch of the problems that it has. It needs new coil packs. You need to get rid of a bunch of the vacuum system that's unnecessary. You need to do a couple things here and there, and then you probably have a decent car.
But just do it up front and get it out of the way.
Just do it right away and move on with life. That's the secret.
Yeah. So I guess that leaves me with the Trailblazer SS.
Ooh, yeah. So many LS things.
Which I'm not super mad about that. They are hard to come by, though.
What motor's in that? Do you know? Is it
I'm totally going to be wrong.
6 or something?
It's no, it's not the LS6. It's the 6-liter, but I don't think it's technically the LS2. I think it's a different one. And it's got the other issue.
The LS world is surprisingly confusing.
For people that don't know, which is probably most people, there's LS motors, which there's about 6 of those, and then there's all these LM and
there's
LQ
small variations between the
that came in trucks. So if they changed the intake, for instance, it got a different designation, and it may not have started with LS. So
it's really confusing.
Somebody says
it's unnecessarily confusing.
It's a little confusing.
Why didn't they just build 2 of them? Just put them in everything.
I don't know. I think those are internal GM option codes. So for their internal system, they're saying, okay, this year a truck comes with an LM7, so they can mate the right pieces together and get it in the truck. I suppose. And then it got out, and people started calling motors that. And
LSX.
You can call it that, but GM makes a crate motor that's called an LSX, which is confusing.
And for a long time, I didn't understand that there was a difference there, that LSX, when most people are talking about LSX, they're talking about it's an LS insert random number or letter here.
Right. Whereas
GM made what I believe is a fairly large displacement LS that they called the LSX.
Right.
Isn't it like a 572 or something?
572 or something like that, yeah.
502, something big.
And yeah, I'm not even sure it's really an LS architecture motor, which is
probably
also
not.
Confusing. Even more confusing. But people, you going to put LM7 on Craigslist? No, you're going to put LSX on Craigslist so people can find it, or LS. So anyway, it gets. I actually have a one of those Google Excel sheets with all the different LS
motors. We're nowhere close
on.
to what we started with.
Not a little bit.
I'm trying to figure out how to bring Robbie back around for this.
See if anyone's still listening after you lost everybody with the Audi talk.
He's taking a nap. Yeah, we went down Audis and LSs.
LS.
Which the bad thing is that if people are like, yeah, this technical talk, man, these guys know some shit. That was it. That was all of the last 2 episodes.
We actually don't know a damn thing.
That was a total knowledge dump there.
That's the last 2 episodes. Everything that we know about cars that's technical has been aired out.
That's not entirely true. We haven't even started to dive into all these things I've had to learn about 80s front-wheel drive Dodges. So,
yeah.
That's a whole nother world.
We could go down
that only 12 people on this planet care about.
Yeah, and we could go down the LT route too, which there are 3 different types of LTs, and most people don't know that. There's one that came
Robbie,
before about 1960.
What's the worst thing you think you've ever done to a car?
While you guys are talking
now
about,
that you've had time to think
I've had
about
plenty
it.
of time. I really have. I was trying to think of what the worst thing I ever did to the 240, which arguably there are some things, but the worst thing I ever did to a car was I put a eBay exhaust system on my RAV4. Yeah.
I remember when I met Robbie, he had that RAV for like half of his life.
He was telling me how many
Almost
miles were on it.
I bought it from my...
It was sickening.
Yeah, my dad bought it new in 02, or 01, 02, because it was an 02. And he drove it for work, put 150,000 miles on it, and I bought it from him in 2005, the January of 2005. And then I drove it until about 2 years ago.
Yeah, something.
And
like
I put
that.
317,000 miles on it, and all I ever replaced on it was tires, cam angle sensor, crank angle sensor, and fluids.
Yeah, it was really good to him. Like,
Bums me
annoyingly
out.
good,
Yeah.
because this whole time I'm dealing with my Audi, and Robbie's driving us to every random skate park in Iowa because I sure as hell wasn't driving.
Yeah, that bums me out a
Yeah,
lot.
I bought it off my dad. Of course, it was a deal because my dad basically gifted it to me for $5,000, and then I drove it for almost 10 years.
It's crazy. What was the final mileage?
317,000,
And how much did you sell it for?
2,500.
How can you drive something 200,000 miles?
He put 200,000 miles on it and lost $2,500.
I don't even want to do the
Well, and the thing was, I put it on Craigslist, and Copart called me within 2 hours, and they bought it and then just picked it up and took it. That was it. Like,
Yeah, he didn't even privately sell it.
No,
so
no
they
one-
probably sold it for $4,000.
maybe.
Apparently, there's a RAV market I'm not aware of.
Yeah, people want parts for those things apparently, which is super annoying because that buying a Toyota RAV4 goes against everything that I stand for.
Yeah.
You could be mad all you want. That all-wheel drive
I get
daily
it.
driver was the best
I
daily
get
driver
it.
ever.
But I'm
It
still
didn't-
mad.
The big thing was it wasn't very good on gas.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, like 18.
Yeah, and so when we drive out to Detroit for skate competition that we went to for a few years in a row, we had to stop like every 250 miles and put gas in it.
It had a 12-gallon tank. I mean, it wasn't
Which
great.
goes against reason, but my 97 Bravado, which is a car that I regret not having anymore, which most people think is fucking weird.
Yeah, it's like me loving a Cavalier, so...
But I loved that Bravada. I did, and the only reason I sold it is because it was getting a lifter tick, and it probably didn't have many more miles in the transmission, but there was something about that thing that it's kind of hard to explain, but I had a real soft spot for it. Had some crazy traction with that because it had that all-wheel drive transmission, which you don't. What else do you find that in? The TBSS or the Saab 97X? There's a bizarre car. Saab 97X. My GM knowledge is apparently just deep.
Yep.
So anyway, I loved that thing, but it got the worst gas mileage in the entire world. And coming from a hot rodder family, I'm thinking, everything that doesn't have a V8 in it must get 40 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
Right? So I got this 4.3 V6 GM motor, and it's basically a 350 missing 2 cylinders, and that thing got the worst fucking gas mileage in the entire world. It got like 15 miles a gallon.
When I first met Robbie, because I met Robbie originally, we've known each other for a long time, probably 10 or 12 years.
Was I even 16? I don't know if
I don't know that you were 16 yet, but
By the way,
I guess
Adam's the old man of the group.
I'm 28. Yeah,
I'm 27.
26.
Grow up.
such a child.
Anyway,
I barely even remember 26.
wasn't from drinking.
No, I just have terrible long-term memory. I guess the first time I remember the RAV, you were at the skate park in Sheldon, and you had like one of those dual band pass boxes in the back.
I did.
of it.
I had. It was an audio bond with
That's
with
what
the
it
LED
was.
lights in it. It was a $300 eBay kit that came with the
Yep, with
amplifier,
like 212s,
two 12s,
and a
it was
band
just-
pass,
Wow.
LEDs.
Yep, I built a nice little. Then I built like a box with carpet on it for my amp, so I could sit upside down on top of it, and you could have the lights shine into the plexiglass and light up all my subs. So you could argue that
Is
was
that the worst decision? Because it looks.
No, it's awesome. Are you kidding
my
me?
eBay exhaust is easily the worst.
What
And
did
then-
that even sound
Did it
like?
drone? Is it like?
You know what a Honda sounds like?
Well, yeah,
Like what Honda? An S2000?
No,
that's a good sound.
Oh.
no, I mean
Like
a
a-
non-turbo.
Like a D series Honda with straight pipes and an
Yeah,
eBay.
It wasn't that
exhaust.
loud, but yeah,
It was
It
bad.
was real bad.
Go over a bump and the whole thing rattles and shakes. And
I think I left it that way for, God, I don't know, a year or two.
Was it terrible on the highway? Did it drone real bad?
It droned, but like it wasn't straight piped. I mean, it was a little quieter than that.
Was it just like catback or
I don't think it was just a fucking muffler.
just the muffler? Is that one of those that has the big muffler like right on the back of the car?
Yeah. So it normally has that big old.
They're
all
heavy.
all the way across,
Just
and I
weight
just
savings.
replaced it with a little tiny thing, and then came out the edge. But then I ended up going back to a stock exhaust later on. What's
fair enough.
So what's yours? Then,
No, I'm still
Michael?
not done. If you
Oh,
guys
we're
wanna
not.
if you
Yeah,
wanna-
keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I got grilled on this for like 20 minutes.
I'd say I also put, again, from 2005 to 2007, I went through an underbody light phase.
That had underglow on it.
The RAV,
What?
The RAV,
Oh
No!
I didn't know
the
that.
RAV4 had blue underbody lights on it.
Of course they were blue. Every
was
light
blue.
I've ever seen him put on was blue.
Yep. And then I put blue underbody lights under the 240. And that, obviously we talked about that last podcast, and I left them on there until
Last year.
last year when they fell off on the way to a race. And even then I hadn't had them on for probably 4 years. But yeah,
Except
if
for
you
every
want to
day.
picture how my cars looked,
Except for when he pulled it in the garage and you flipped the lights on. Just
Closed the door and just turned it on.
if no one else can prove that I looked at it, it didn't happen. But if you want to picture how my cars looked in the garage or outside in the dark, just watch Too Fast, Too Furious and look at that skyline. That's what my cars were.
except not a
wheel
Skyline.
wells and everything.
No, I didn't do wheel wells. Inside though, interiors under the seats, all that shit.
Oh shit!
Change out the dome light.
And then I'd also put I put subwoofers in the 240 for like 6 months.
Good subwoofers or shit?
Nah,
ones?
shit subwoofers.
Okay.
It's just like I bought them for $50
I don't-
off somebody.
I don't even want to talk about subs.
Let's not go there. Adams. Yeah,
I have
that's-
a problem.
He's
Well,
good.
then apparently you guys have a problem with my 6-shooter center caps.
It's super rednecky on a 240. Is kind of
I like it. I like the fact
not-
that you wouldn't expect it.
It's
and-
confusing, and so I like that. But it's kind of a weird mod.
well, 9 out of 10 people don't even notice it.
Well, I knew. So when I saw those wheels, I knew that they were not recent. I mean, because
Yeah.
that would have been the thing to do in
they're
2000.
color
for sure.
matched and stuff.
Yeah,
and
they match the car. Yeah, that
work with the car.
I thought we were talking. Are we talking the rims, or are we talking about the center caps?
the whole
Just in general,
the whole
thing.
thing.
the whole thing. Yeah,
Okay.
but you could tell when you looked at it that was from a different era of modifying cars.
Well, the car did sit in a parking lot for over a year behind a speed shop because no one could figure out how to get it to run.
Well, then I went to college and it sat in my parents' garage for almost 3 years total.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so
done a lot of hard
with those
parking.
center caps, we printed off vinyls of the a 6-shooter and centered them on the center caps, and then drilled the holes out. And then I had my buddy's boss go and shoot a bunch of 9mm. So those are legitimate used bullets in those caps, and I glued them in there.
Those
Oh
are
no
real
shit!
good.
Yeah, they're real bullets.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's some work that went into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That was
though.
back during
It's
my
creative.
that was my show car fabrication days. Where we
might-
just would fab up some weird shit.
It's the details
It might
that
be-
win a car show.
Might be cooler than I originally suspected.
Yeah,
I just thought
it's-
you bought those wheels and that was. I didn't even look
No,
at
that's
it. that
not
no,
part
I
of
made
it.
those.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And then to add to it, we found those little
Bullet
valve stand covers, and I put those on that.
Oh
See,
yeah.
to me, that's not lame. I think I like it. I think it's cool. I don't care.
Hey,
I don't
that's
care.
all that matters.
I don't care what.
Yeah.
you
That's
think.
all that matters. I
That's
love
true.
my Lambo doors, so you guys
If you're
can talk
into it,
shit
go
all you
with it.
want.
That's
Whatever.
right. I never talk shit about the Lambo doors. I hope you know that.
There was so back where we came from. There's cruise-ins all the time in all these random little towns.
Yep, like Sunday nights in Susanna.
Yeah, and so there was one in Hull. I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah,
in Hull.
July 11th.
It was the night that kid got killed on a motorcycle.
Yeah, we're just gonna breeze past that. We don't
We're
wanna
gonna
talk about
breeze
that.
past that. But I
remember
legitimately was cruising up and down Main Street of this tiny. What is there? 2,000 people in Hull.
3,000. Because
Cruising up and down the main street.
7 churches, 1 bar, and 3 schools. I'm not kidding.
Because there's some Catholic or some
Protestants and
schools.
Protestants and Reforms.
But cruising up and down at like 20, 25 miles an hour in a sea of muscle cars and diesel trucks with my Lambos up. That happened.
With your subs on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a real like hardcore setup at that point because that didn't happen until college, and this was still high school. or maybe freshman year in college. I didn't have a real hardcore setup at that point because my selling those Lambo is what funded my first big stereo build. But yeah, I did cruise down the street with those up once, at least.
I was going to say just once.
That I can remember.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's no way it was just once.
How is that not illegal?
Don't ask questions like that. No, yeah, absolutely.
No, it was during a burnout night. So like,
there were burnouts happening on Main Street, and the cops were like, "Yeah."
Okay,
so
yeah, it was a main.
That's just something like. So how much trouble could you have gotten?
But
No.
old people were so confused by what was going on there.
Yeah, no, back
For those that haven't listened to the first podcast, that's our producer Katie.
Yeah. We're gonna go with producer.
Yep.
But no, back. I like to say back in the day when it was like 6 years ago. But yeah, 6 years ago or whatever, their cruise was awesome. They would shut down Main Street, and at every stop sign, it was just a burnout box. You could just let them rip, and no one cared. No one got hurt.
And then the kid got killed.
Then the kid got killed, and then they completely took away all burnouts. Everyone got tickets for doing burnouts the next year.
He wasn't even. I don't want to get too deep into it. I knew the kid. I went to high school with him. It was a very sad deal. But he wasn't even. He was in the same town, but not on Main Street.
No, he was leaving town actually.
He was not a part of the situation. He was there because of it, but he wasn't in it.
Yeah. It was kind of a scapegoat for somebody decided that was a bad idea, and it was hard to talk.
It was sad. It was a bad deal. Not trying to cover that up. Real nice kid. A lot of people, I'm sure, miss him dearly, but it sucks.
Yeah.
Well, people used to do that at Good Guys all the time. I'm sure you remember that. So we've got Good Guys Heartland Nationals in Des Moines, and 10 years ago, you used to go out by where they built that horse arena, and they would spray the pavement, and people would do huge burnouts and stuff. Now, this is when it was probably 2,000 cars instead of 4,000 or less than that, maybe. But used to do that all the time, and then every year they got more and more pissed off about it, and I mean, you can't do that anymore. But I mean, now that show is crazy.
I have pictures of me and my little sister drag racing down Main Street of Haywarden, Iowa, in our junior dragsters when I was like 15.
I need to see that picture.
Yeah, it's on my phone.
Send it to me. We'll post that.
Yeah,
that is
post
gold.
that
That is pure
it's
gold.
pretty dark and not real easy to see.
That's fine.
But because it was shot with an old camera, because I was 15, so it's been almost 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
But we used to get invited to burnout contests with my dad's full tube chassis drag car, and then me and my little sister both had juniors, and we would get invited to burnout contests, and my dad would use up a set of slicks at when he let off his trans brake and the car would pull away, or not his trans brake, his line lock, and the car would pull away, there'd be flaming piles of rubber in the burnout boxes. And then we'd lose to figure 8 cars, and that was kind of the end of that. But I got invited to do them with the junior a couple of times, and me and my little sister drag raced down Haywarden's Main Street.
Oh, that's perfect.
It was great.
Now you're gonna have to come up with a picture now, Michael, because we both have pictures that are gonna get posted when we post this.
Well, when we were kids.
Just like,
we got the bullets,
my center caps,
juniors.
and we're gonna show.
I've got a picture. I'm gonna have to find it, but I got a picture of me when I was 6 years old, and obviously it had been raining outside. And I had one of those little go-karts, right?
Please tell me you're doing burnouts.
Oh, just power sliding the whole yard.
Yes.
What kind of? Are we talking like shifter cart style, or are we talking like the go-karts you could buy at Sam's Club?
The go-karts you could buy at Sam's Club, but mine had a little bit of a hopped-up engine on it.
Because you came from a hot rodder.
It doesn't surprise me.
So
it
was just me at 6 years old, opposite locking through the yard, which legitimately I was. I had torn a circle in the yard from me doing this. I torn all the grass up, which in my mind I was like, I'm basically just out here mowing, so I'm doing my parents a favor.
You're welcome, Dad.
Yeah. Now you don't have to mow this spot.
Who needs a mower?
It's me holding my helmet next to the go-kart and just caked in mud.
That's good.
I got to find that picture because
that's a good one too.
It's a great picture. It's good stuff. So I gotta fess up to. Well, I already said my worst in the first episode. I said my worst modification was those Raceland coilovers.
Yeah, you put. I didn't know that you put Racelands on your GTI until
you didn't go into detail though, did you? You just kind of mentioned.
Basically, I just put them on, and the spring rate was too stiff, and just ruined the ride of the car.
Cheap.
Yeah, they are super cheap. But I asked people about them. Nobody said don't do it, so I did it.
Yeah.
We'll leave names out of this, but there's some local Subaru kids that use Racelands for their stance cars, yo.
Yeah. and it would have been fine for that. But I thought that was going to be better because my struts and my shocks were shot, and they were
Do
making.
you know what
race
Racelands are?
I've kind of picked up on it.
They're an eBay brand. They're the cheapest coilover that you can buy.
Like Emusas for 240s.
Sure, I'll bet you there's a
You
Raceland
get like
for
a
240s.
you can get a full adjustable suspension system for 240 for like $400 from
No, I don't want anything to do with that.
It's
So,
the most dangerous thing I think.
Basically, what it comes down to is people need to learn from our mistakes. It's time to let go of the
This is
underglow.
our PSA.
Let go of the underglow. Don't put Lambo doors on things.
What?
Don't buy Raceland coilovers.
If you're gonna do the underglow and the Lambo doors, do it right.
Yep.
Here's the thing.
You cannot show the bulb. That is the rule.
Here's the
Use
thing.
fuses. Don't use duct tape.
I didn't use fuses.
Learn how to use a crimper
I use crimper.
And a soldering iron
and a soldering iron.
and heat shrink.
I use
I'm good with
electrical
that.
tape. I
Yeah,
didn't use electrical tape.
just
God
do it
damn
right.
Robbie.
10 years ago.
Damn it, Robbie.
Don't buy a universal door kit.
Oh no.
Buy real hinges.
Here's the thing. I want to live that Fast and the Furious 1 lifestyle as much as the next guy. I really do, but it's time to let it go.
My dad tried to get me to buy suicide door hinges for the S10 today.
Do they have them?
Yeah, there was they weren't for the S10. They were just general
Oh.
suicide hinges.
They probably would have worked on that door,
But
though.
yeah.
You could have made them work.
Yeah. And my dad's like, you need those for the S10, right? No.
Your dad is awesome.
Don't
Well, this
do
is
that.
great. I'm glad that somebody actually
He
brought us
also
back.
is,
This
like-
is the second time you've brought us back full
Full
circle.
Swap
This
me,
is why we
please.
have Adam. It's because he does this for us. So anyway, okay, so let's go back to we
Swap
got to go
me,
back to
thanks.
Robbie, and we got to get his. I just want his unadulterated impression of his first hot rod, old school, parts covered in grease, haggling with people, swap meet.
Well, I didn't do any haggling. It was what I expected almost. Well, we go to East Des Moines, so we know from the start what we're getting into.
Yeah. By the way,
We go to the fairgrounds, the Iowa State Fairgrounds.
Hold on, I love
Greatest place
I
in the
love
world.
these sites where my mom grew up, and it's where some real people live, and I love the East Side. I really do.
Chaz feels the same way. He was born on the east side.
I don't know what it is, and apparently it's ingrained in it, which they have East Side Night, and
Yep.
if you're an East Sider, you're East Sider for life, and I don't know what that is,
I don't
but I've
either.
got it too. I love the East Side. I almost brought a gun with me, but I still love the East
Whoa.
Side. I love it. So anyway, but yeah, so it's a little bit sketchy on the East Side of Des Moines.
Well,
We're not talking ghettos of Chicago, but
Absolutely
for small town boys like us from Iowa, the east side's a terrifying place.
and I go to the fair every year. I see these people every year. So I mean, I know these people.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean those people? Yeah, I was
These
waiting. I was
people.
waiting for it.
You people.
But yeah, so we go to this swap meet, and I'm walking around in my HKS shirt as I posted on our Instagram.
Just trying to confuse people.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
you want to shut your phone off? But I'm walking
it's our
around and
diabetes.
Podcast.
It's her diabetes time.
oh yeah,
She's got chest or blood.
It's a medical thing.
She's gestational. She doesn't actually have real diabetes.
Okay.
This goes away when you have a baby, apparently.
Which I never
Yeah,
knew.
I learned that this year too.
That's
actually.
a fun fact that people are going to learn from listening
Yeah.
to this podcast.
Yeah.
This is educational, really.
It is an educational podcast. We have told people the correct mods to do to their car and how to
Or
do
at least
them.
not the
Yeah, the ones that we did
mods.
wrong.
Right, and about gestational diabetes.
Yeah.
What more do you want from a podcast?
Watch your carbs.
Yeah, watch your carbs.
Essentially what you got to do when you
Carbs
have
are the enemy.
diabetes.
So the east side's sketchy.
Yeah, so we go to the swap meet, and I know full well I'm not going to find anything for my car. Well, at least I don't expect to. So I'm walking around in my HKS shirt. It's got Japanese writing on it. I'm sure I'm getting looks I don't even see. Did you guys notice?
I didn't see any, no, but you were behind me most of the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the closest thing I got to finding something for my car were a set of XXRs, but they were staggered to the point where I don't think I could have used them.
Yeah, we found some.
18 by 11 is a hell of a rear tire.
Yeah, and then the front was 18 by 8.5.
Yeah,
and it's
and
an
they-
inch too. The diameter's an inch too big. That I want
you don't want an
17s.
18.
Yeah, and they were
You want some
XXR 531s, I think is what they were.
Yeah, they
If you
wanted
wanna
400 for 'em.
Look those up on
Yeah,
Google.
So
If they had been narrower, if the rear,
I think
if they had been square, or they would have been
XXRs
narrower.
they're good. They're good wheels, I think.
Yeah,
for the price.
And this is a good looking set of wheels.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
brand new.
They
they were
have
brand new.
a couple. They have a few that I wouldn't mind owning myself. So they're good wheels for the price.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, as I'm walking around, I bet if you would have played the quiz game with me, I wouldn't have been able to answer almost anything. I could have told you that's a carburetor.
Oh, we should have had my
no,
dad do that.
There
with
is
you.
no way I could
My
have
dad
told
was
you what
like
brand it was.
pointing out like W style heads, and I'm just like, I don't even know what those
Yeah,
are.
he could have told you every part
That
number of
Hemi
everything
head,
in there.
You
and
see
then-
how cool that Hemi
Yeah,
head
yeah.
was? I didn't realize that they're dished that much. I've never seen the underside of a Hemi head. Like, if there's one on a motor, I'm like, that's a Hemi.
Well,
I know these
Well,
things
aren't
'cause
those
they're
aren't those the pistons that have the angles on the top?
yeah, they're like
Yeah,
and they're the size of milk
I always
jugs.
thought that was
They're
so strange.
insane.
Here's some knowledge. I'm gonna drop some knowledge.
Let's hear it.
Drop some knowledge. So, Robbie, do you know why it's called a Hemi?
I did at one point. Back
Really?
in automotive school, I
Come
did know.
on, Mr. Engineer.
I have.
They're hemispherical.
Yep. I knew that.
So the valves are, nobody's going to know what that means listening to this. The valves are
Okay.
spun 180 degrees. So if you look at a normal small block head from almost any manufacturer, the valves are in line with the longitude of the head. Whereas with a Hemi, they're spun 90 degrees so that they run latitudinally for each cylinder, which supposedly is supposed to make it flow better.
It seems to work because the world's most powerful gasoline internal combustion engines are Hemis.
You want me to
Top fuel
fun
motherfucker.
fact you one more time?
Let's
Because
do
I'll
it.
do it. So
we got time
Sure.
for one more.
Gen 1 and Gen 2 Chevy small blocks are all the normal style valve setup. When they switched to the LS architecture, they spun the valves 45 degrees. So all LS motors are
They're semi-Hemi?
semi-Hemis. Yep.
Nice. That's a term.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. They call them semi-Hemis.
I didn't know that.
And then,
So-
then my final takeaway, besides the fact that 90% of the stuff there was drag or dirt track or circle track or whatever you want to call it.
That's what it always is.
Yeah, so nothing for me. And then as I'm walking around, I see a kid that looks identical to the child from the Joe Dirt movie with a full-blown mullet halfway down his back.
Some guy I saw there, and of course you can't take pictures of these people as much as you'd like to.
I
He had the
should've. I really
full-blown
should've.
perm mullet, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like almost like a Jerry curl?
I hope it was natural because it was impressive.
wow.
And
man,
so
you
it
should've
was,
pointed him out.
It was, he probably grew the hair just in general, but in the front it was like this puffy, like fucking poodle looking thing in the front, and then he had these curls coming down his back.
That's weird.
That's a lifestyle choice that I don't think I could make. I'm impressed that he could.
Yeah, at least someone can. So one of the things I always find interesting about swap meets is that it amazes me how grouchy old guys can look.
Yes.
They like a lot of them just like permanently grouchy looking.
So I guess the question becomes: do you hit a certain age where you just
Stop caring.
you just don't give a shit anymore, and you're a grouchy asshole?
I think that's 27 because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I've noticed the older I get, the less I care. It makes life a lot easier, I suppose.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
We had the conversation yesterday. I don't think this was on the podcast, but basically, you hit 21 years old, and the number of friends that you have at that point is the maximum number of friends that you're allowed to have in your
You
life.
gain one, you got to lose one.
Right.
You got 6 friends. You got to you meet somebody. You're like, I want to be this friend that like it's number 6 in the line's got to go.
Yeah.
That's it.
So if you're 18 years old and you're listening to this podcast right now, what
Get
I'm going to
ready.
tell you to do is you need to accumulate friends.
Just lots.
Yeah.
Don't sit at home and play Halo all day. Get out there, meet some people, do some car things.
Or if you do play Halo all day, find friends that do that.
do some car things.
No,
Get
more.
out of
Do more outside things.
Don't-
please.
don't do Halo
That's the
things.
problem with this generation.
Yeah.
That's my old
We're
man.
going down the.
That's
That's our.
No,
this
we're talking
genera-
about grouchy old men, and I'm going to say that. That's the problem with this generation.
These damn kids.
Never go outside. Go outside and work on a car, please,
Because of race car.
Oh, absolutely.
because we need people to listen to this podcast.
So, what'd you buy today, Michael?
I have to thank your dad for this because he eagle-eyed those headers.
He did. He really did.
ridiculous.
I'm just going to go to all swap meets with your dad. He
You
found
don't even know.
headers. So they only made these headers for, well, they made them longer than that, but they only fit on production cars, certain production cars from 93 to 97. He just happened to see him, didn't even know what he was looking for. He
He's
just
like, hey, look, there's some headers back there.
yeah, and then the guy picks them up. He's like, these, and they happen to be for that LT1 motor. So, and I got them.
That was incredibly random.
That was super random. Never would have guessed. Wouldn't have been worth my time if I would have seen him from as far away as they were. But your dad was on it, and I got him for about $100, which
That's why I keep them around.
yeah is way cheaper than some other guy tried to sell me some used pace setters for, which is those. That's not as nice of a header as those Edelbrock, even though those are going to need powder coated.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
But
I know a guy.
the pace
You let
setters,
me know.
yeah. Well, my dad wants to take a stab at it. He was asking me about high temp powder coating. I'm like, I don't know, it's not my job. You're gonna have to figure that out. How about the headers?
We did it once with the junior dragster headers, and it filled our shop with smoke the first time we fired the junior up.
So what did you do then to actually powder coat them?
I was 8. I don't remember.
It sucks because you can't. Because
I just remember the smoke.
by
That's
the
all I remember.
so here,
It seems like an experience we could talk about on the podcast.
so here.
We could do a whole podcast on my junior dragster.
or no, I mean like
experiences.
our trials and errors with our first attempt.
So
at
here's the
powder
deal: if you're listening and you're thinking about doing underglow things and stuff like that, and you're thinking that high temp paint is a legit thing that you can buy from O'Reilly's and it's going to work, that is a lie.
Absolutely.
It does not work.
No.
Don't even attempt it.
No.
'Cause
There's a reason that there's people who make a living ceramic coating things.
Because all it does is essentially just catches on fire.
Eventually.
Yeah, and it burns off and makes a bunch of smoke. And
Smells so bad.
And then your headers look like shit. You should have just not painted
Even
them.
worse than they did before.
Right. Which is exactly what's going on with the Camaro right now.
Did you buy anything else?
I bought some screwdrivers, but that's not very interesting.
No. I bought a boost gauge for the Omni. It's
$10.
period
Super
correct.
cheap.
It's a Sun Pro.
Super cheap.
$10. Reads up to 20 PSI, which is more than double what I'm expecting to need, but
You don't know that.
it's period correct, and I think it'll look pretty good on the Omni.
I like it.
Pretty excited about needing a boost gauge on the Omni. Even.
And you have extra gauge area for it, don't you?
Yeah, I'll
Under
figure
your-
something out.
Oh,
I got one where the radio used to be.
Yeah,
Because of race car.
Yeah, so then you have this one to go next to it.
Yep. There's a oil temp gauge there already,
Nice.
so we'll go right next to that.
What'd your dad buy?
I don't know. My dad really bought. Oh yeah, I bought a bunch of ratchet straps, brand new ratchet straps.
Oh, fair enough.
Pro tip: if you guys need ratchet straps, don't waste your time buying them online. Go to your local swap meet. There's somebody there who hand sews them in front of you, and they are the best ratchet straps that money can buy.
Yeah, if
they
you're-
will. My dad. I don't know that my dad's bought a set of ratchet straps since I was born until today. They are good.
Yeah,
ratchet
if
straps.
you're in, I assume that guy travels all of the central U.S.
Yeah.
If you can find this guy, because the thing is, he brings in his trailer, he gets all the ratchet straps out that he's made, and he's usually got a big booth, and
Yeah,
people come to it.
Yeah.
He gets in there, and he's got a Singer sewing machine from, I'm assuming, like 1850. Yeah, it's the oldest sewing machine in the entire world. And he's just in there with his little generator, just
And he's like 5'4".
and he's just in there just going to town. And guess what? That's the best goddamn ratchet strap you're gonna buy.
Yeah. So he was in Sioux Falls a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
He was here today.
Yep.
I know for a fact he goes to Lawrence, Kansas. I know for a fact he goes to Fremont. I know for a fact he's in Wichita. I'll bet you he's in Wichita, Kansas next weekend.
And I would venture to guess that you're not going to even find them cheaper on eBay if you want.
No, they're a very reasonable price.
Yeah, don't waste.
And they come with a sweet duffel bag now when
What?
you buy a whole set.
Nice.
Yeah, they came in a duffel bag and it says like the Strap Man on it or something. He's got a website.
That sounds.
I
He's
didn't notice
gone.
your dad was carrying a buffalo bag. I didn't realize that was for a strap.
Yeah, that's full of ratchet straps.
Nice.
Talk a little closer to that mic, Robbie.
Oh, okay,
Move
my
it
bad.
if you need to.
My bad. I'm new. I don't
It's
know
all
what
right.
to do.
No worries.
So
But that's yeah.
they were
it's crazy.
cool. Yeah, they're
'Cause
the best ratchet straps ever.
We use them in the race car trailer.
We had a set that has the D-ring sewn into it, so you don't need the D-ring separately. It's
Yep.
all one deal, and those were really super convenient. I like those. Use
So,
them.
anyway, it was a good time. Robbie got an experience. I bought something that I knew that I needed when I got there. Adam got a boost gauge, which you were looking for, weren't you? You found that in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it was not in a booth I would have expected. It was in the booth that like the guy that sells all those sanding discs.
Yeah, we were still kind of dicking around at that point. And you were talking about how great those sanding discs are, and that's what we used on
They're
the Camaro.
great.
Again, this is shit you can't buy online,
Yeah.
which was the whole point of
Yeah.
going to the swap meet, is that there's just some random shit out there that you cannot buy online.
This is why I want people our age to be going to swap meets. Stop buying shit on Craigslist. Stop buying shit on eBay. Start going to swap meets. Start bringing the parts that you have that you can't get rid of. Sell them to other people. Use that money to buy more stuff at those swap meets. It keeps the money local. It's a hell of a lot more fun. You get to talk to people. You get to meet people. You get to learn new things. Swap meets rock.
Plus, you know what else these damn kids with their Xboxes,
Damn kids.
they need to learn how to negotiate.
That's the
That-
other
that-
thing.
that is
So
true.
much negotiation.
Which your dad had a good
happens.
point. So let's talk about that, because
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that before, which is
Yeah.
a really good point.
If you're traveling in a group, you got 2 or 3 of your buddies, and you see those D-port headers that you haven't been able to find anywhere else. When you start to negotiate, your friends need to walk away. You are on your own. That is you and him. That is not you and your buddy and him. That's just you two, and you talk. And you don't give that guy any more information than he needs.
Right.
And even if you know that's the part you need, you don't know for sure whether that's going to work on your car or not.
In that particular case. Because
Yeah.
when we were sitting there talking about those headers, I knew those were the exact right headers that I needed.
Yeah.
And Adam said, you don't know if those are going to fit on your car. And I said, nope, I don't.
We think they will. They should work.
So he had a marked 150. Did you see that?
Yep. Yeah.
And I think he had been dragging those around with him for a while and went,
Yeah, so
I
they
want to
marked
get rid
them
of
down
these.
automatically to 120.
So I beat him up over another $10, but
Yeah, it's not the greatest victory I've ever heard.
no,
but
absolutely
not
not.
bad.
Nope. Like I said, I'd take 110 over those $200 pace headers, which is a worse header, and they're already
They'll crack.
Yeah.
If they aren't
they
cracked
will.
out the box.
The pace setters will crack?
I think. Aren't they the ones that are notorious for that? I thought
Might
that
be.
they were like the super cheap header. And
They're cheap. Well, they might be an eBay header, yeah. I mean, you can buy them legitimate places, but they may be like an eBay type of header.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. If I am, I'm sorry, pace setter.
We love Edelbrock, though. They were Edelbrock headers, which is the second time. They might as well just sponsor us at this point.
If Edelbrock's, if it says Edelbrock on it, you've got a quality product.
Yeah, it's
for
usually
sure.
a good product. So as far as the guys that are from a different generation or like different cars, I guess the guys that are like Robbie, I just want to call him a fucking racer all the time. Is that me? Is that my problem?
Yeah, it's
You're
You're an
spending too much
asshole.
time with good guys. That's your deal.
Is that what
isn't
it is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
maybe.
when I wanted to, when I talked to them about taking my Omni to go, as long as you don't bring that Ricer shit, that was his exact word.
Yeah.
Some crabby old guy looked like he, was still here was around when dinosaurs were here.
Yeah, well, I'm
Calling
hoping
my car Ricer.
this is still going strong and we can do. I would love to do a live podcast there. I don't know if we'd ever get that figured out, but we'll definitely talk about
hard.
that experience.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're
sir.
encouraging that generation to get out there and
Get out there
do
and do that stuff. Sell that crap you've got sitting in your garage that you're never going to use deep down inside.
Throw it in the back of your pickup or your buddy's pickup and get a ticket for a booth and set it out there. And
It's a good time.
because what it's going to take is it's going to take multiple people from that generation trying. And I say that generation, I guess it's us.
Yeah,
you know,
from our
it's just-
generation.
You're going to have to go and you're going to have to try to talk to people, and because what it's going to take is more and more people need to start going to that are into those types of cars.
Yep.
And then
Bring your Miata parts. Bring your 240 parts. Please, for the love of God, find me if you've got Omni parts.
if you have any Fiat 124 parts, you can find us on Facebook at 10 Cents Podcast.
How are we sitting for time? I think we're.
Yeah, we're about there. So we're at an hour and a minute.
So I've got one story I'd really like to share from when I was very, very little from swap meets that I find quite funny. This is one of my dad's favorite stories about me as a small child. My dad has a long time said that I am the best salesman he's ever dealt with, and that generally I outsell him at his own swap meets when we have booth and we vend, which is something I grew up doing for a long time. But when I was probably 3 or 4 years old, we were in Chickasha, Oklahoma, which is a huge swap meet. Good time. And my dad just gave me a bucket of lug nuts, and I had a little sign, and it said, lug nuts, 25 cents a piece, $1 for 5 or something like that, and I'm just selling lug nuts to people. They'd walk by and they'd just give me a quarter and take a lug nut, they don't care, but, some guy comes up and my dad had, I believe it was like a 68 Firebird or something like that. I know it was a Pontiac because that's what my dad does. In the booth that he was trying to sell along with a bunch of other parts. And some guy comes up and he goes, I want those lug nuts, and points at the Firebird. And my dad had a speed wrench for taking lug nuts off on the table right next to where I was sitting with the bucket of lug nuts. So I grab that bad boy off the table and walk over to the Firebird, start trying to take these lug nuts off of the car to sell to this guy because I am here to please. Customer's always right. It's one of my dad's favorite stories to tell people from when I was little. He just thinks it's so funny.
So the moral of that story is take your kids to the swap meet and exploit them so you can sell more parts.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
100%. Yep. Definitely.
There's a lot of money to be made in selling parts that way.
All right. So we decided when we did our last podcast, we got a little carried away and did, what did we do,
84 minutes.
86, I thought.
No,
I don't
it
know.
was 84.
We were on a marathon
It's long.
run. Yeah.
Hour and a half,
We decided we're going to try not to do that. We're going to try to stick to an hour.
45 minutes.
Unless
to an
people
hour.
get really into it and we want to run longer than that, but people don't want to listen to us for that long.
I don't want to listen to us that long.
No.
So I'm gonna put this out there, and because we've really committed to this in the last 12 hours, so we're gonna
Dedicated my life to this.
Right,
my life
right.
work.
Yeah, like I said, we already quit our job, so we're gonna do this once a week. So people can find us. We're gonna have new podcasts uploaded. That's on what channel's that on again? Shout.
We have it on Shout Engine right
Yep.
now, and we're in the pending list for iTunes.
Yep. So they got to go through and count how many times we say fuck, and we get our explicit thing and all that fun stuff. So
We are definitely going to have
yeah,
explicit.
this one was remarkably tame. I
I'm
think it's
trying to
it
pull
really
back.
was.
I'm trying to.
I don't think you should pull back.
Well, because I wouldn't mind not having that explicit, Mark.
Good. No,
No,
not gonna
nobody gives
happen.
a shit on a podcast.
This is a conversation
You
we shouldn't be having on.
kidding me? We can have it wherever we want to. This is an open forum. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
No, people don't
this
care.
This is our podcast.
Yeah, this is our podcast.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up.
So you can find us on Facebook at 1010s Podcast, Twitter's at 1010s Pod. That's going to be a little bit weird to get used to, but I don't know what else to do with
We'll
that.
work with it.
And then you can find us on Instagram as well.
Maybe we should try just 10/10ths.
No, I tried that. Somebody's
Maybe.
got that. You just plug somebody else's Twitter
Dick.
page. God damn it.
Don't go to that guy.
Don't go
Yeah.
to, yeah.
1010s Podcast, Instagram.
Yep. Find us on there. Anything else you want to plug?
Snapchat coming soon.
Snapchat coming soon.
That's not
check
true.
check out all those pages. We'll try to simultaneously post to that. We'll post some of the stuff that we saw today, and
We are working on a web page, but that's not
a ways out.
ready yet.
Yep, it's coming. But we'll post that stuff, and then the pictures that we talked about today, we'll get that stuff posted. Also, we talked about we're going to put together some short videos of our cars and throw those up there too, because we've talked about them, and we want people to see
Who doesn't
them.
love watching race car videos?
And we want people to see what we actually look like, because at this point,
I've got a face for radio. I don't know if it's good for our
we
PR.
got to get you out there on the internet, Adam. So anyway, thanks for listening. We'll have another episode out next Sunday. I don't know for sure when this is coming out. It'll probably actually be on the 7th, January 7th, and then we'll start doing them weekly from there.
It's February 7th.
February 7th.
February.
Sorry. Yep, February 7th. This year's going fast.
That's all right.
Not fast enough because it's still cold outside.
Yep. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week.